So what I'm going to do, we're going to start off this morning. I'm going to need a little bit of participation from you. As we are starting, we're going to talk about, we're going to identify your skills. But before we can identify your skills, I have a great question for you. It should manifest on your screen in just a moment. And let's make a word cloud together as we define skills. So I did just launch it. And you should see something that come up on your screen that says Lana would like you to open Slido, and if you can just be so kind and select yes. And then once it opens up, I would like for you to go ahead and put in there. It says, "What is a skill?" Go ahead and put your answer in there. Give me your definition of a skill. What is a skill? Selling. Okay, good. I see one coming in. Keep going. For those of you, it should manifest on your screen if you have a computer or laptop. I don't know about a phone. And it should be asking you a question. You hit yes. It will allow you to type in the space. And I see one vote. What is a skill? Okay. Now, some people are using the chat, which is fine, but it's not going to help that cloud. All right.
I don't see that cloud. It did say Art Larson's name, had put it up there, and then I requested to yes, move forward, and now I don't see anything.
Okay. So, all right. So it looks like the cloud disappeared. That's not happened before. We'll just keep going with the chat then. All right. So in the chat, I guess you're saying some other things. I'm about to go back because I was looking in the cloud. So thank you for your participation anyway. So we're defining a skill according to the chat is, what do we have in here?
Customer service, active learner, organization, active listening skills, exceptional attention to detail, assets.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. So let's keep going here. So thank you for those who was able to participate, and I'm not certain what happened to their cloud, but you did participate in the chat. We appreciate that. So we're going to identify the skill. And so you gave the answer in the chat. So now we're going to have like an additional pop quiz to see what it is. So testing your knowledge. What is a skill? You did give some answers. The answer is anything you can do. So we did have a lot of things that were shared in the chat, and the majority of them, I'm going to say maybe all of them are correct, because a skill is anything that you can do. Now, of course, we're focusing on those things that you can do that are job related. There's things we were born doing that's not really maybe job related, but everything that we can do is a skill, whether you do it very well or you do it okay. So the next question is, how many skills does the average person have? So I would like you to participate. Go ahead and drop that information in the chat. To your knowledge, how many skills do you believe that the average person possess? You can start with yourself or just an average. Maybe I don't want to give a number out, but if you could put that in the chat, how many skills you believe that the average person have, that'd be absolutely fantastic. And Jackson, if you tell me what they have in there, okay, that'd be great.
All right, perfect. Hundreds, thousands, 50, multiple, many, unlimited. Too many to list on a resume.
Okay, perfect.
Infinite.
Perfect. Okay. Too many to list on a resume. I like that. Hundreds, thousands. So I'm gonna go with that. The answer that we normally have is that the average person has 500 to 800 skills. And then I want to double back on the person that says too many to list on a resume. So we do have way too many skills that we have to list on a resume, which is okay, because we only want to focus on those that are going to help us in a particular job. Okay. Or those transitional skills, excuse me. Okay. This one came out a little different, where I give you the answer, then ask you the question, but it's okay. So how many skills can the average person identify? It's about 10. So the average person can identify about 10 of their skills during the course of an interview. And unfortunately, it says what percentage of people cannot identify or sell or prove their skills during the interview. And unfortunately, that percentage is high and it's coming in at about 80%. But at the end of this workshop, you will not be part of the 80%, but you'll be part of the 20% that is going to be able to articulate your skills during the course of an interview. So you will not be in the 80%. You will be in the 20% that can and that will be able to articulate your skills during the course of an interview. So right now, just so we're getting this happening, what I would like for you to do, if you can share in the chat, we know that the average person can do 10. I'm not going to ask you to put down 10. That would be greedy. I'm going to ask for only 5. If you could just list 5 skills related to the job that you're going to apply for next in the chat. Just give me 5. 5 is not a lot. I want you to be able to do 10 at the end, but for today, I just want you to be able to do, to just type out 5 skills that you have that you can articulate during the course of an interview. I see somebody put down 2, customer focus, data analysis, typing. So I'm getting 1 per participant. There you go. Thank you so much. This participant gave us 5. That's what I'm looking for. Good. I'm seeing 5 of them coming in. 1 person put organized, good listening skills. Okay, good. I want you to be aware of those skills that you have. 1 person did put in an organized, good listener, fast learner, computer literacy or literate, and then responsible. Responsible is more like a characteristic, more than we can prove that is a skill. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. So thank you. Anybody else want to go ahead and put in the 5 things that you have as a skill that you can articulate at your next interview? Someone put in 4 very good ones: organization, problem solving, and interpersonal, and then listening. Problem solving is one of the top skills that employers are looking for. So I love to see that being shared today. Leadership, good. Ability to learn, communicate skills, punctuality. Punctuality is great to have. Again, that is one that is harder to prove on the interview, but it's good. Good to have that there. It means you can, timely is good too. Wonderful, wonderful. So now remember, I'm just asking you for 5. But by the end, I want to make sure that you can articulate 10 skills during the course of an interview. Okay, let's keep going here. And thank you for your participation. I wanted to say somebody has a great example in here, and I'm going to come back to it because they put in creative, organization, office management. They put Microsoft Office Suite, which is a very great hard skill for one to have. I love it. I love it. All right. So the next one is here.
So I did put a link in real quick. There's an advanced LinkedIn class today from 1 to 3.
Okay. So then we're going to do the test your skill knowledge. So skills are developed through a couple of things. Here, this is part of the test. And I do want you to please participate and put your answer in the chat as we focus on this particular workshop today. Go ahead and say the skills are developed through A, work experience, B, education, C, volunteer work, D, socializing with people, E, hobbies, or F, sports. And then that's also G. If you could please put down what you feel your answer is to this questions. How do we develop skills? Remember, we've given a definition and we have said that skills is everything or anything that we can do. So with that knowledge, what is the answer to this question? If you could put down A, work experience, B, education, C, volunteer work, D, socializing with people, E, hobbies, F, sports, or G, all of the above. Go ahead and put your answers in the chat, please.
Oh, we've got a lot of G's.
Okay. Okay, somebody did put A. Okay. So, all right, so we did have 1A, so A, B, C, D. So I guess the person put A, B, C, D, that's almost G. So the answer is going to be, what is it? It's G, all of the above. Remember, a skill is anything that we can do. Yes, we're focusing on those skill sets that afford us opportunity to have gainful employment, but it is G, all of the above. You are able to share out your skills with an employer from work experience. You're going to be able to share out your skills from education. There's a lot of things that you learn from education from kindergarten up until today. Volunteer work, you do definitely learn a lot of different skills that you learn learn as if you're volunteering in some capacity, whether it's organizational skills, that's a really common one for someone who's volunteering, gathering information, socializing with people. So what I would like for you to do, before we move a little bit further, I wanted you to participate. Drop in the chat really quickly. I'm going to say, hey, work experience. I want you to drop one skill you got from work experience. Ready? Go ahead. One skill that you have from work experience. I need half of you to put one skill you got from work experience. Perfect. I see those coming in. Data analyst, problem solving, delivery, collaboration, project management, laws. Perfect. Okay. De-escalation is a great one to have. Leadership. Okay. The 5 successes I think they had on there. Troubleshooting, technical skills. Perfect. Now, as we're continuing, if you can continue to drop in skills, can you please share out a skill that you have attained through education? I need a skill from education, and this can get to start from kindergarten on up. So you don't have to have a master's degree or a doctor's degree. Presentation, good. Problem solving, listening, QuickBooks. Okay, great. I love it. Professional writing. Now, keep going. We're going to keep it up because I want you to realize all these skills you have and where you're gathering them from. If you've ever volunteered to work or volunteered to help somebody, whether it's the Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, or whatever, what type of tutoring? Good. That's a good one. If you have volunteered at any capacity, what skills did you gain from volunteering? Drop it in the chat. Organization, leadership, empathy. Yes. Fundraising. That's a good skill to have. Companies love that. All right, perfect. And we're going to keep it going. Socializing with people. What skills do we get? Oh, see, supervision, listening, empathy, working together, communication, active listening. So when you're socializing with people, you might be having fun, but you're also utilizing the skill sets that you use that you definitely can use in your job. They're transferable skills. Now, I don't know how many hobbies you have. I'm going to skip hobbies because I want to make sure we keep everything PG. I don't know what your hobbies may be. So I won't ask about the hobbies, but if you have ever participated in any sports, basketball, hockey, baseball, those are the sports that my son did. But anyway, any sports that you participated in, what skills did you get? Team player, I love it. Teamwork, patience, follow through, confidence. I love it. Collaborations. Okay, focus. All right. Soccer coach, I love it. Work ethics. So we learn a lot of different skill sets that are from all of these different areas. So we have just verified and confirmed perseverance. I love it. Encouragement. We have just confirmed through the chat that all of this, that G is definitely the answer. So we gather these skills through all of the above, and you have definitely confirmed that. Thank you so much for your participation in that. I think I saw a hand go up, but if you have a question, please do put that question in the chat, and we would definitely grab that and address your inquiry. Thank you. We're going to keep going forward here, and thank you for your participation thus far. I appreciate that. So there are different types of skills, and it's important, and those skills that tend to be important to the employer are soft skills and people skills. When I say that, like when one goes to an interview, they want to know, will you fit in? Are you going to be a good fit? Employers want to know, will you learn and will you adapt? Now, many employers, statistics has indicated that they don't want to see us putting on our resume that I'm a quick learner, because realistically, no one's going to say, oh, I'm very slow, I can't keep up. That's not going to happen. But that's one of the things that keeps coming up in surveys, that when we say we're a quick learner. So even though they want us to be able to learn and adapt, we don't need to necessarily communicate that out in that verbiage terms. You can say it at the interview though, that you love to learn and things of that nature. Ability to learn. Yeah, that's a good one to have. Somebody said, what about the ability to learn? Now, when it says soft skills and people skills, those are those skills that are not necessarily where we could put a quantitative part to it. That's not, somebody said coachable. Okay. Jack said coachable. So when it says people skills, you want to make sure that it's like if you are a nurse, I'm just asking a question. If someone is a nurse or a doctor, what soft or people skills would we want to have that doctor, that nurse to have if we're going to see them? active listening skills, good manners. I think somebody said good bedside manners. So that was the good listening, empathy. Yes. So we want compassion. Great. I love it. So we know that if we're going to see a doctor or a nurse, we want them to have bedside manner. We want to know they have empathy for what we're communicating to them, and we want them to be passionate, and we do want them to be knowledgeable, but we do know that medicine is just a practice. They could, they're just practicing on us, but we won't think about that. And confidence. Someone did put confidence. I love that. If you're going to the doctor, for me personally, if I'm going to the doctor, you're trying to maybe draw blood or something, but you're shaking, no, please get somebody who has some confidence. So that is important too. I love that. And honesty. Okay, great. We're doing great together today. Let's see here. Now, the question was going to be, how does identifying your skills help in your job search? And then the answer is already there. One, it's going to prove our abilities to our potential employers. It's going to help us with the writing up and forming our resume. We need to have our skills. We have to be aware of our skills to write our resume. And then also, we know that it's great to know our skills because we're going to utilize it as we sell, how we're qualified for doing an interview. So knowing your skills is going to help you, one, to develop a resume. Two, is going to help you to be able to communicate those skill sets to an employer. That's very important. So that's why we want to be aware of your skills. That's why I'm pushing and asking you to participate and put out those skills so that you can say, oh, voila, yes, she's right. I have hundreds of skills. Now, again, my goal is for you to be able to communicate a minimum of 10, but I'm loving all the participation, and I have great confidence that you will do this and when we're done with this workshop. So thank you. Let's see. So there's approximately 3 different types of skills. There's the soft skills. That's the skills that, we use to get along with others. And soft skills is the skills that we aforementioned that we want our doctors to have, that compassion, the empathy. Those are soft skills. Those soft skills are a little hard to teach. It has to be, I'm going to say it almost has to be an innate ability. I can't really teach you to be compassionate. I can't teach you to have empathy. That has to be part of you, unfortunately. So those soft skills are things that is a little bit harder for one to teach. And then there are the job skills. And then you did list out a lot of job skills. Like IT can be learned. Thank you. Somebody put that in there. So your job skills is things that you do in IT. Somebody did list previously in the chat. I saw somebody put on there Microsoft something. It was something around Microsoft. So I think it was Microsoft Suite. I'm not sure. But IT things, different programs can be taught. Those are your job skills. Microsoft Word, IT programs, and it varies by the organizations. Somebody said certification. So there are hard skills. SAP, CRM. So yeah, those are the hard skills from different programs. Those are things that we can be taught. We can be taught how to do presentations. We could be taught how to do Microsoft Word. We can be taught how to do different CRM or customer service. We can be taught those. Those are hard skills. And the great thing about it is that it brings it together. It's transferable skills. Transferable skills are any skills that you have gathered or gained from an employer or working at a place is what we say. But I'm going to say transferable skills can be anything. But mostly when we're saying transferable skills, we're talking about the skills that we gained while we were working or volunteering in a particular situation. So like say that perhaps you're in the process of looking for work, and those transferable skills is going to be anything that you did at a former employer. You can bring those skills over. So the skills that you can bring over, somebody put in here management. I love that. So let's put in some more skills. I was going to say management, leadership, but what other skills do you have that you possess that you can bring to your next employment opportunity? Somebody said legal. That person may be a lawyer. Customer service. I'm glad that someone put customer service. Customer service is absolutely the most transferable skills because it doesn't matter what job that we are doing. Customer service is a part of that job. Whether we are the CEO or we are a cashier, it does not matter. Customer service is significant. You have both internal and external customer services. Customer service, you need to be able to do all of those. Somebody put flexibility. I think if I was to talk about flexibility, it's almost a soft skill, but definitely it's a transferable skill. If you employers, I think that's on the top 10 list of things that they're looking for. They want somebody who can be flexible, someone who can learn, someone who has leadership capability. Now, when I say leadership capability, it does not matter what your job title is. You can lead from whatever your job title is. You still want to have some form of leadership capability where you are leading people for whatever your position is. Are you able to lead and direct others? So that's very good to have, regardless to what it is said on your resume. Somebody said change management. Change management is a good thing to have as a transferable skill, and that's going to be something that you're going to be able to utilize as it depending upon what that job is. Conflict resolution is also, I'm going to say, that's parallel to problem solving. Employers love someone who has the abilities to solve problems, whether the problems are big or small. We want to be able to have some resolutions to problem solving. So good. And multitask, de-escalation. I'm loving the participation. So those are all transferable skills that you can take from your previous employer or your current employer, because maybe you're looking for a new job, I don't know, and into your next opportunity. If even if you were going to be an entrepreneur, you still want to have those skill sets, especially like customer service. You still want to have the skill sets if you decide to go in that direction. I've had a couple of people do that recently. So thank you. Let me see. We're going to do a small activity. Bill Gates, he was the founder of Microsoft. One of the things that he said is many people have the confidence. He says, my people, meaning the people that he employed, my people have the confidence of their conviction and they know their skills. So we also want to know our skills and we have confidence in that. So let's see here. What I want you to do is for this activity is if you have, and I should have asked you this earlier, if you have a sheet of paper, how many of you have a sheet of paper? There's a little reaction button that you can use where you can do a thumb up, a smile. If you have a sheet of paper, a thumb down, go ahead and give me a thumbs up if you have some paper that you can grab real quick. Give me a piece, if you have a sheet of paper. All right, good. I see a lot of you have a sheet of paper. Perfect. So what I want you to do, Veronica, I see your hand raised. Go ahead and put it in the chat so we can address you. Yes. So those of you, or you're telling me you have a piece of paper, that's what you're probably doing. And that's fine. So it looks like a lot of you have a sheet of paper. Go ahead on this sheet of paper. And what I would like for you to do is take a sheet of paper, number that paper 1 to 10. Number the paper 1 through 10. Okay. And once you number the paper 1 through 10, what I want you to do is to begin to list out your skills. List 10 skills on that sheet of paper, if you would. Go ahead and list 10 skills on that sheet of paper, if you would. Now, I'm not going to give you like 20 minutes to do this. And literally, it's going to be a speed type of thing. Why I'm talking now, I would like for you to begin to write out a list of 10 skills that you have, number 1 through 10. I'm going to give you maybe 30 more seconds because I'm hoping that you've been writing since I've been talking. Go ahead and make a list of 10 skills that you have. Thank you for the verbal thumbs up and the hand raising and the doing the reactions. I love the reactions. Those are great. That was perfect. Thank you so much for that. So listen, right now you should be listing your 10 skills that you want to communicate during your next job interview opportunities. So tips to consider. Remember that skills is anything you can do. Oh, I love it. Thank you. Skills is anything that you can do. And then also, you're putting in those transferable skills, the things that you've done well or excellent, and that you plan to utilize in your next opportunity. Okay. You can also do some hard skills. You could do some soft skills in there. So when I say soft skills, maybe list 2 soft skills and 8 hard skills. The hard skills are the ones we know we can prove. The soft skills, not so much. Let's write down those related skills. So once you have completed writing down your 10 skills, what I would like for you to do is go ahead and give me a thumbs up, a smile or something. Go ahead and put that, do the reaction and let me know that, yes, you got it up. Okay, good. Thank you. I see that hand raised. That means you got it up, I hope. Okay, good. Thumbs, smiles. I love it. Love it. Good. A lot of you haven't You got it done. Oh, someone's not quite done yet. Keep working while we're checking out everybody else. If I got that one thumbs down, keep working as we're speaking. And then we're going to go ahead on. But if you're done, I love it. Thank you for that confirmation. So if you don't get it done, it doesn't mean you cannot do it. It just means that you need a little bit more time than what was allotted by Lana at this for this activity, but you definitely can get it done. All right. Thank you so much for your participation. All righty. Going to keep going here. We're going to have a small little pause here, checkpoint. Again, if you're writing those skills during this checkpoint, you can keep writing. There's 3 types of skills. Somebody put them in the chat for me so I can confirm that, yes, you remember what the 3 types of skills were or are. What are the 3 types of skills? I see the little thumb. I don't know how you did that. That's cute. Anyway, if you can put in the chat, I need at least 2, 3, 4, 5 people to put in the chat. Soft, job, transferable. Good job. Thank you. So yes, soft skills, those are those skills that's we can't really teach you that. You just have to have it, compassion and things of that nature. Job skills are those skills that you learned doing while you were at a place of employment. And then there's the fact that they're transferable, that you can take the skills that you have and you can move them anywhere. So I remember I was laid off from my job and I was like, what? But they can't take all the skills I have. So I left that last employer with all the skill sets that they paid, they trained me, equipped me to be wonderful. So yes, they cannot take your skill sets away from you, even if you have to, if you're laid off or you relocate to another city, you still can take those skills with you. And I love it. Next, understand the importance of identifying your skills. There's 2 main reasons why I wanted you to be able to identify your skills. What are the 2 main reasons? Can somebody share that out in the chat, please? The 2 main reasons why it's important, according to Lana, no, that you want to be able to for an interview and a resume. Perfect. So you want to be able to identify your skills so you can utilize them in your resume to communicate to the employer, as well as to articulate them during the course of an interview. Perfect. And then finally, as we're checking in, we want to make sure that you know how to identify your skills. And you have been participating, you've been wonderful, and I have all great confidence that you do have that as well. We're going to move on. Now, I don't know if there's any questions. I'm going to pause for 1 second. Is there any questions in the chat that we need to address?
No, I haven't seen anything. You're
Okay.
right on top of the chat too, so we're good. I'm going to start dropping in some links per what you're talking about, though.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Now, excuse me. Now we're going to talk about, excuse me, give me 1 second, 1 second. I want to talk about, now we're going to talk about applications. We know that many of the applications, we know that many of the applications, I don't know, haven't seen a lot of paper applications. So we do know that the majority of the applications are online. But I'm curious, has anybody filled out a paper application in the last 6 months? A paper application in the last 6 months. Anybody filled out a paper application? Okay, a couple did. Okay, so I won't rule it out. Okay, I won't rule it out. Maybe 1 or 2 people did, but the majority have not. A lot of them are doing it online. So when we're talking about the application, we want to make sure that we have information ready before you start. So we used to have a form that we gave people where they could have all this information. I kind of thought it was dangerous, so I would tell people, don't put in your prevalent, like your address, things where people can go buy a car because you put so much money on your applications. But gone are the days that we hand those out. So what you want to have, you do want to have the information ready, right? Hopefully you're keeping it in the safety of your home. I don't know if you have your cell phone and you put like both of the cell phones have that note feature in there. You can perhaps use that note feature in your phone, but you better make sure your phone is locked and you don't lose it. So if you decide to do that, so whether you have an Android or an Apple, both phones have the ability to put things in notes. That's an option. Make sure you don't lose your phone or lock it, or maybe have a backup copy of that information written down safely at home. Don't carry it around with you where you can lose it. And on that information sheet, you're gonna maybe have some important dates, the dates of your employments dating back to your first job. Now, when you're talking about having a comprehensive information, yeah, you could do all your information going back to your first job. But when you're usually doing your resume, I say go back 10, 20 years, depending on your length of time at your most recent employer. But you want to have exact dates. You want to have the addresses. Now, yes, you want to have the addresses. Most of the time, they don't ask you for that. You do want to have the phone number. You want to have the salary, but the salary is most roughly is not shared out immediately. So you can have it for your own benefit because sometimes they ask you that as you get down the road, but it won't necessarily be something you have to communicate each time you fill out an application. Sometimes they may want to know who did you report to, but that's not always. So mostly the thing you want to know is the name. You want to have the title, which is not on here. You want to make sure that you have the title of the job that you were doing, the location, city and state, more important than the actual street address, because that's very rarely needed nowadays. Also in the application, you want to make sure if you have the opportunity to do a paper application, it must be neat and clean. Okay. Don't be scratching out. I know I don't even know if I even own a bottle of whiteout in the last 10 years, so I won't talk about the whiteout thing, but it must be neat and clean. If you're doing an application online, I want you to keep in mind that sometimes applicants can be screened out, but so I'm going to recommend that you do use keywords, especially online. And keywords are going to most likely be a combination of your skills and what you saw on the job posting. The job posting is like, it gives you a lot of, a very good job posting reveals a lot of answers. Remember that the application is also an opportunity to sell yourself. Use your space wisely. Here's the biggest thing I need you to do. Follow directions. Intended moment of silence. I want you to follow directions. Yes, I said be neat, make sure it's complete, but you have to follow directions. For example, there was a project that was done in Washington County. I was participating in it. I'll even tell you the employer. It's not a secret. 3M. 3M was there, was doing they was taking applications. I was there helping them with the process. A lot of people got eliminated before they left the building. And before the applications left the building, that is, because the employer, how the application was set up, it was a paper application, so it's been more than 10 years, obviously. But what the employer did is, I don't know if they did it intentionally, but the name, when we normally fill out an application, we're putting down our first name and then our last name. But on this particular employer, they had the application was built up where it was the last name and first name. So everybody who did not read and follow directions, in other words, they put their first and last name and didn't notice that it said last name, first name, their applications did not leave the building. They didn't leave the building. They automatically were eliminated. So we do not want to, we want to make sure that we are following the directions of the applications. Yes, these applications are online. So basically, another big thing is as far as following the directions is sometimes we want to be very quick, do things very quickly. So instead of us answering the question on the online application or the paper application, we want to say, see resume. That is an absolutely do not do. You have not followed the directions if you put on there, see resume. Yes, you're going to give them the resume. You're going to attach, you're going to send it, but you cannot put see resume on your application, whether it's in person or online. I do know the one employer who actually tells you not to do that. I want to say it's Ramsey County. Ramsey County didn't always have that, but Ramsey County currently, I believe the last time I looked at a job posting of Ramsey County, they literally put on that application, do not put see resume. Okay. They also recently, because it wasn't always like this, I've been doing this for 15 years, but recently they also do not allow you to list volunteer employment, which in other employers, you can list volunteer employment on your application. Ramsey County literally now prints that, do not put volunteer employment. But keep in mind that you want to follow directions, and please do not say see resume. Do not say see resume, because that's not following the directions. Fill in that information and take the time to do that. So now we're going to have a little bit of fun here. And here we go. Well, maybe. Okay. So one of the things that I want you to do is to make sure you're proofreading. Okay. You want to make sure you're proofreading the application, proofreading your resume. proofreading every opportunity that you have. So now what I would like for you to do, hopefully you're seeing this very clearly, there is something that's on this PowerPoint and it's a proofreading exercise. So what I would like for you to do is to count the number of the letter F's, F as in fun, which we're having now. Count the number of F's you see in the 4 lines of the white box. Count the number of F's that you see in the 4 lines of the white box. I'm gonna give you about 10 seconds. Okay. And I don't want to mess up your concentration by talking while I'm giving you the 10 seconds, but you're putting the answers in the chat so quickly, so that's perfect. All righty. I see answers ranges from 3 to 5 so far. Keep going. You're doing a great job. 3 to 5. 3 to 5 is what I'm seeing. Somebody said 6. All righty then. 3, 4, 6. I'm seeing some varying answers. And your time is almost up. So if you're looking to participate in this, I would love for you to do so. Go ahead and drop your number in there. It's not too late. I don't know why. I think I'm sweating. Sorry. All right. Keep going. I see those numbers still coming in here. And now the numbers are ranging from 3 to 6. It's very interesting. So we're reading finished files are the results of years of scientific study combined with experience of years. Okay, interesting. So many people see less than 6 F's that are there because we had the 3 to 4 and the people that put in 5. And it's easy to miss the F of, the word of. So when we say finished, filed, are the results of. Of is an F. Years of. So if you miss the F's in the word ofs, then you probably would have got a number like 3 or 4 or 5. And for the people who have 6, that's because you did remember, you recall, you made sure to include those ofs. The F's of the ofs is what I'm trying to say. The F's of the ofs. So thank you so much for that participation in that proofreading. And forgive me, I went a little too far. All right. I'm just checking time here. And I'm seeing there's no questions that I know of. Is there any questions that we need to address at this moment before I move forward?
Well, yes, someone was asking, and I did put a little blurb in there. What if the business was closed or sold to a new company since you were there? How should this be on my resume?
Well, on your resume and application, you will put down the information that's going to pull up with the Social Security, so or the IRS. So basically, you could put in the name of the name of the company when you work there, because if somebody does a background check, that information is going to manifest under the name of the it's going to come back as the name of the company that you previously worked for. So not all jobs do background checks, but you want to make sure that the information that you're sharing out is the information that will be confirmed if the employer do a background check. And also if you were to pull your information from the IRS or your Social Security, that information will all be the same. So that's what I will put on there. So if they're no longer in business, you still put that down there because that's what's going to manifest on your Social Security, your background check, and IRS. If you do, there's some stuff, a report you can run it with the IRS if you wanted to get that information. Is that it? Is there anything else?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you very much. So we're going to keep going here. Let's see here. Wow, I don't know why this. One second. So basically, we're going to talk about, as we're talking about the application, there is some time online and sometime on paper. They may ask you this, and they may not. But we definitely want to make sure that we address it and that we're prepared for that question, which is the reason for leaving. So what you want to do when an employer, if they ask you this, the reason for leaving, and this is going to be applicable for the application as well as maybe the interview. That's not too common now, but they may ask you that. So you want to make sure that we're choosing language that is positive, and we're being very careful, depending on the reasons why we are left or no longer with previous employer, maybe we don't want to say involuntary separation, because involuntary separation sounds really cute. However, it also means that you were fired. So even if you say it was a mutual agreement, it still is equivalent to saying fired. So you want to avoid saying fired or quit. Those are things we don't want to say. Now, if now we have on here, not my choice. Not my choice definitely would be laid off. Company downsizing, company closing, as somebody just aforementioned, positions that are eliminated, temporary and seasonal employment. Those are all things that are definitely out of your control. Now, I don't know about involuntary separation, but anyway, so some things that are your choice is if you have resigned or you voluntarily separated. Now, you want to make sure that if it's your choice, say for example, you resign or you left, those probably will be okay because you're going to be prepared with a reason why you resign. I resigned because I was relocating. I resigned because I was looking to do something else. Like I was in this field, I have a passion. I want to be able to help people. I want to travel. Whatever the company, whatever it is, you should be able to articulate that the guy on the company was insane. You won't say that, Shelley. Okay, so you want to make sure that you are communicating. I guess if I would have to be transparent. I did once resign. I guess I resigned a couple of times in my life. I have resigned before in my lifetime here. And I'm able to articulate that during the interview. I've never been asked that, but one at a time I resigned because I wanted to be able to take care of my child. So a lot of mothers or fathers, parents, they sometimes change the situation and what they're doing so that they can make sure that their child have a better life and have time with them. You don't want to send them to daycare 7 days a week, or so you want to be able to. You may need to resign to take care of the child. Whether you're whatever parent, mother or father, I don't want to say just mothers do that. So sometimes people do resign to stay at home, and then you're still employed though. That's I used to call that back in the day a domestic engineer, but that is something when you decide to get back into the workplace, there's definitely a verbiage and language that you can share out as the skills that you have maintained while you went in that direction. So keep that in mind. Volunteer separation, that's also your choice. Is you just want to make sure that we're not communicating any reason why we're leaving in a negative light, whether you were fired or quit. Involuntary separation is not your choice, but yeah, you want to avoid maybe. So say for example, you resign, but you resign not because you were taking care of a loved one, whether it was a child or a parent or whatever it may be, but maybe you were ill. That's something you don't want to share out. So when it comes to medical situations, it's really strictly none of the employer's business, to be very blunt and straightforward. So you do not want to share out illness or extremely personal information. I think resigning to take care of your family is personal, but a lot of people do share that out. But you want to avoid sharing out extremely personal information like illness or you was divorced or things like that. The personal information, please do not share those type of things out when you reason for leaving an employer. Usually I just say to explore other opportunities because it's the truth. It's a fact. I left because I need to explore other opportunities. And that's usually my answer. Even in the event if someone was fired, I would say to explore other opportunities and make sure that I put a positive spin on it and that I focus on the great things that I did and what I can do that I previously did for this new employer and keep it in a positive light. In an interview workshop, we just try to keep things positive. So I'm going to say that today. You want to keep it positive and avoid negativity, even in this particular area. Now, sometimes people ask about can the current employer contact the previous employer? Yes, they can, but there are legal ramifications depending on what they answer. So, previous employer is only able to share out limited information, like how long you worked there. I think they can share out how much you were paid and your title. So they couldn't call a previous employer and say, yes, Lana used to work here. She's absolutely fabulous is all they could say. But they can't speak to that. They only can tell very limited information for legal reasons. And so keep that in mind. However, some employers are very intelligent. So they may say, would you hire Lana again? So that's one way that current employers can find a way if you did something that was maybe not desirable. But I think that that answer should hopefully be yes. Yes.
Hey, several questions.
Mhm.
What should you say when you were fired?
If you were fired, as aforementioned, I would highly recommend that you turn that question around and focus on the things that you can do for them. At my previous employer, I accomplished exceptional customer service. I increased sales by 25% in less than a year period, and I'm looking to explore the opportunities. That's why I'm in this situation.
Okay, perfect. Is it okay to say that you left to go on FMLA related issues, and since then they've been resolved?
Absolutely not, because I highly recommend that you do not share out any medical information. It's none of their business. And then you don't want them to have a bias against you, because people can develop a bias against you and even they might not even know it. So say that you said that you was on FMLA and this has been resolved, but in the back of their mind, all they hear is FMLA. So now you are an employer coming in and they're thinking that you made whatever that is, it has the possibility of reoccurring, and now you're going to be on FMLA. FMLA may mean that you're going to be missing work a lot. That's not true, but it's a possibility. So do not. I highly recommend you do not share out that information.
Perfect. If you're asked if a prospective employer may contact your last supervisor and you don't think they'd say anything nice about you, how do you handle that?
You don't want to give a red light by saying, oh no, don't contact that person. If they ask you, may they contact that last supervisor, just go ahead and say yes. Keeping in mind that the last supervisor can't say that, they can't speak negatively about you legally. So you would just have to say yes. Because if you say no, then that's going to be a flag and they're going to want to contact them. And there's a great chance that they may ask you that question. It doesn't mean they're going to actually contact them. Now, if they ask you to supply the actual referral or references, then of course you don't have to give that former supervisor. You can give a coworker, you can give a vendor, you can give a client. So you don't have to give that name if requested. That's you have control of that. But if they ask you that detailed question, then I would just say yes, because if you say no, that's an alarm.
So there's a question about how does a person address the fact that they left due to a toxic work environment?
Okay, so if you left because of a toxic work environment, I'm still going to stick with you left to explore the opportunities, because the last thing you want to do is speak negatively about a former employer, or that includes the environment, that includes the supervisor, that includes your coworkers. Yeah, you don't want to come across as someone who's is holding on to negativity. And if you did leave your previous employer because of a toxic work environment, I highly recommend that you contact Career Force so that we can help you work through that.
Okay, and what if you were the one thrown under the bus to say, goodness, I'm not going to go? Some of these things, I think maybe I would recommend folks reach out to their local career force so they can talk about one-on-one. They did ask about, so every job application is going to ask about if you have any disabilities. There's an option to put prefer not to answer. How do you handle that if you, I guess it's personal preference.
Yeah, if an employer asks about disabilities, they're probably just trying to check some boxes. You do have the option to say prefer not to answer and let it go. I mean, it's not a big deal. They're not going to say, "Oh, Lana, we see that on this question you said you prefer not to answer." No, they're not gonna. They're not going to ask you why you prefer not to answer. You prefer not to answer. Prefer not to answer also is an answer that you can provide for other areas other than disability. So it's all part of the application. Don't be afraid to use it.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, I did just put in the link about how you can go and schedule one-on-ones, and then I'll put in information about your location. How about if you are being railroaded and you're currently engaged in a legal dispute? Ooh, don't say
Oh,
that.
you don't want to share that out either. Because if I say, oh, I'm in a legal dispute, everything didn't go well, then I'm thinking if you're in a legal dispute with company A, I'm company B, that means that you are also maybe be in a dispute with me one day. So that's just like a red flag. You don't want to do anything that may throw up a red flag and have them pause or stop you in a process of securing employment. And if I was to be very transparent, I do have a very good friend. I love her, but she did some legal stuff against our employer. And plus, they let her go. She couldn't come back. So, yeah, not my current employer, a recent employer. Let me be clear on that. A former employer. Yeah, so be careful with that. I'm not saying you don't have the right to have a legal dispute. Is if something has happened where you have secured that and you're in that process, work it through, but do not share that information with potential employers. Yeah, yeah.
And you could even say at my previous employer, I learned new skills and gained new confidences and collaborations, and I've made the decision to take those onto a new adventure and just leave it at that because you did learn things. You know, you needed to get the heck out of the door, but you don't have to say that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So then we're going to talk about portfolios. In a portfolio, it is there are digital portfolios as well, but then there is the old school portfolio that very good, thank you. There's portfolios where you have like a black, usually it's a black leather folder, and it has all this stuff in it. It can zip or not zip, and you have like your resume, your cover letter, your reference sheet, your letter of recommendation. Should be more than one, but letter or letters of recommendation, work samples, copies of certificates, and licensure. So those are things that you can have in your portfolio. Now there is also digital portfolios. And I normally there with the digital portfolios, it's just a website, and then you're gonna have some of this very same information in that portfolio. So I have a question. If you have a portfolio, let me know with a thumbs up. But if you have a portfolio and it's digital, drop that the name of the website that you're using for your digital portfolios. Notary is a certification, I guess is just what you're asking. But if you is or is that okay? If you have a digital portfolio, LinkedIn is not really GitHub, Canva, CDA portfolio. Okay, do not have one. Okay. Some people say they don't have one. Canva. So I know that Canva is a very good website, but I did not know they had a portfolio per se. So I'm gonna have to look into Canva. But there's other e-portfolios that you can have for the purpose of job search, just like job search portfolios. And yeah, there are some out there. Taylor, but I'm guessing cover letter Indeed. Indeed is a good website, but it's not where you would neither one of my phones will come on. It's not where I would recommend for a portfolio. I did have a list of online portfolios, which I don't have readily available to drop in the chat, but we will make sure that we get that information. Okay, somebody's talking about work samples. So yeah, so I want to say it's e-portfolio. I'm not saying the name right, but there are digital portfolios that are available, and I'm definitely going to make sure that that information is communicated out to you. Let's keep going because we're got 5 more minutes here. Let me see here. When it comes to branding, let's talk about branding. So branding right now, you see before you a resume. It may be kind of small. I don't know if I can make it larger, but on one side you see a resume, and I can't make it bigger. Anyway, on one side you see a resume, and it's inclusive of like the name, the job title, and things of that nature. And then on the next sheet of paper, that's the cover letter. So on that side of the cover letter, notice how it's blank. So what I would say, digital portfolio listed in your follow-up email, please send. Okay, hold on one second. Yes, I would definitely do that. We would definitely have that in there. Thank you. So basically for the branding is simply like on this particular resume, you will see that the one side is on this side, this side right here is pretty blank and don't have anything in there. But the branding part would come in where you take the same title from your resume and you're going to put that same title over to your cover letter. And it's just that is just like the simplest form of branding, where you are making everything look nice and neat and make sure it's stellar and appearance and just being consistent with it. You can not only put that same heading, I'm gonna call it a header, right? You can still put that same thing on your cover letter. You can have the same thing as you're managing to meet, make sure you're getting that great first impression. Your heading, the fonts and all that could be the same on your resume, your cover letter, and if you do a reference sheet, reference sheet, yeah, you're going to make sure that you can have that same heading under that and just be consistent with your branding. Okay, let me see here. Like this is illustrated. Where we're taking the branding from the heading, moving it over to the cover letter, and it just looks very aesthetically pleasing. And it's very impressive once the employer receives that. Oh, good. We're at the end. So now I just want to know if there's any questions. We do have about 2 minutes for questions, and I did see that request for the digital portfolio. I would definitely make sure that that is communicated out to those who attended today.
Perfect. Okay, let me jump in. So how many pages is too long for a resume? I have 25 plus years of experience, difficult to fit it all in.
Okay, so if you have 25 years plus of experience and it's at the same employer, then you would have to maintain that. If you have 25 years plus of experience and it's with various employers, the most recent employer is less than 25 years, you can begin to maybe not communicate out. You can purge it. You can cut off some of it. You can purge it a little bit.
Can you go back on the previous slide so they can write down some information? So Sana, everything that we have shared today and then some additional information will be sent out either later today in the afternoon or tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there any other questions? We got about 1 minute.
Hey, Shelly, I would just connect with your local career force to discuss kind of how to go through that. Can you cut out short-term employment between long-term employments? So if you have
the question,
so if you've had several small jobs and then you've had long-term jobs, should you cut out the short positions and just include the longer positions?
no, you want to include all of the positions, unless, I mean, you want to include all your positions, unless you were working 2 jobs. So my long-term jobs may be my full-time job. My short-term jobs may be small little things I did at part-time. Maybe those may not all be included, but normally you want to include everything because they may do a background check. So
if HR reached out that your resume has been forwarded to the hiring manager, what can you do to see if you get interviewed by the hiring manager?
there's nothing you could do but wait.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you have to. That state of Minnesota, all you can do is really wait and see if that manager is going to do it, because you don't want to come off as too. You don't
want to be overly eager, which can translate into being really desperate. And you have to be really careful. That's a fine line. Okay, I'm working part-time at Hy-Vee right now. There's no way I'm putting that on my resume. Honestly, it might look really great that you chose to work part-time at Hy-Vee and that you took that initiative, and maybe the executive of where you're hiring, where you're trying to apply, maybe their first job was at Hy-Vee. You never know.
Yeah. So thank you for sharing, everybody. You have made this definitely a wonderful event, and have a good day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.